Good morning. Hello, good morning, everyone. Oh, yes, it's 5 to 10 or even later. It's that time that we share a few invitations and announcements. Welcome. Continue to grab your coffee. It's just fine. Don't want to deprive you of that. We will have a few invitations, and I'll just walk you through a couple of them. By the way, if you're thinking this is weird that we're starting early to share invitations, you're right, we're experimenting. And if you want to give some feedback on all the different ways we've been sharing announcements and invitations lately, this is on the foyer table. Or online, whichever. It's okay, people can listen or not. That's right. There is no sacred circle dancing following the gathering, but instead come back next week. There is a chance to experience some sacred circle dancing. Hush in the back. I want to thank everyone for all the ways they contribute to the work and life of this community. None of the things that we do could happen. We couldn't have this building open for the broader community. We couldn't do the programs we offer. We couldn't meet here as community. So thank you so much for that. You can donate in the box at the back or with your continued pre-authorized giving. Thank you so much for all of that. Donate online. All of the ways that you can do that, we're happy. We sell grocery cards every week too, because a portion of those sales comes back to us. So not only do you have to buy groceries, but you can support this community while you're doing that. There won't be any sales next week because we'll be meeting outside. So if you need grocery cards in the next 2 weeks, come by the office or get them this morning. David is there ready to help you with that. And speaking of next week, a tradition that we are resuming. We haven't done this since 2019. Oh my gosh, how did 6 years pass since we've had an outdoor gathering? Next Sunday, we'll have an outdoor gathering. So come as you normally would. If you'd like to bring a lawn chair or a blanket to sit on, yes, bring them. But we'll also have some green chairs out there so that if you don't have any of those or forget, then you can sit on a chair. You don't have to plop on the ground if you don't want to. Also bring a bagged lunch because we'll provide watermelon and ice cream. Well, I could challenge you to fill up on that, but also bring a lunch because we want watermelon and ice cream for everyone. We are going to have an all ages, all experiences gathering outside next week, which means that there's something for everyone. So if you feel like, oh, this is just for kids, no. We will experience some things together outside in nature, which is all that we always talk about this. We are nature. Let's also gather in nature next week. If you can help, just a little bit of extra help to set up, to clean up, we've got a lot of things in order, but please speak to Dara or sign the sheet in the foyer, because just to get things organized and cleaned up after, we just need a little extra help. So if you can do that, please talk to Dara. Oh, and I've been talking to Lauren Upshaw this week, who is so excited because she has the starring role in an Edmonton production of Amelie coming up at the Timms Centre on the University of Alberta campus. If you want to support Lauren, please get your tickets, and we'll support her and show up and see her as Amelie. There's some takeaway cards or posters on the foyer table if you want a reminder. And one more thing for me, just a reminder that not just the things I've mentioned, but all of the announcements can be found in our e-messenger, which if you're subscribed, then you get on a Friday. If you're not, you can go to our website, subscribe, or find the newsletter from the past week. Okay, Linda's here to talk to us about an update.
Thank you. Whoop.
Yeah, it's on.
Is it on? Oh, okay. I'm here to talk about our Drop Your Gaunch campaign. As you know, the month of June we have been collecting underwear, and as of Friday we have over 500 pairs. Last week I was away, but Gail and Marg very ably talked to you about the role of Bissell in the United Church in Edmonton, and lo and behold, $350 came in this week. So I haven't had a chance to spend it all, but I will. This week, my daughter stopped by our house with all kinds of water containers. She was on her way to something called Freezer Burn, which is sort of Alberta's version of Burning Man. And I said, "Why are you taking this much water?" And she said, "Mom, we have to have drinking water, cleaning water, food water, and clean our bodies water." And it made me think about one of the things that Bissell does, because it provides showers and laundromat, and of course the community closet where our the underwear that we donate goes. And right now, the whole area with the Hope Mission and Bissell, they're trying to divide up what they do well and what other places do well, so that the best things available to getting people off the street are happening. But for us, the Drop Your Gaunch campaign is an excellent way to at least help people. It's a small act of kindness. So we're still collecting this Sunday and next Sunday, and then after that, we'll let you know how many pairs of underwear are off to Bissell. Thank you. Next time you take a shower, think about the people who don't have that option easily. How do I turn it off?
No, we'll keep it on. Thank you. We also have had the opportunity over the last little while to every couple of weeks hear a little 100th anniversary moment, some memories of connection in the United Church. And this morning we're happy that Bill Hibbard has agreed to share some of that story with us. Thank you, Bill.
Chris. Good morning, everybody. I think most of you know my name, but I'm Bill Hibbard. I've been a part of connected to United Church for over 82 years, even longer than Mark Hetherington, for Pete's sake. I was born in Chicoutimi, Quebec, product, I guess, an accident of World War II. My father was a farmer from Peace River. He married a young lady who was a telephone operator for AGT, Alberta Government Telephones, in Peace River. They married, and I was one of the byproducts. My father volunteered to be in the RCAF as a, well, I think they were called aerodrome maintenance. Being a farmer, he knew how to run tractors and fix things and that sort of thing. He was based at the air base at Bagotville when my time to be born came along. 2 weeks after I was born, I got a certificate that says I was born in Chicoutimi, that I'm a registered whatever from the Arvida United Church, signed by the minister. That was the product of Hazel Hibbard and Eric Hibbard and that sort of thing. So I have a very long connection to the United Church. We moved around Eastern Canada as my father moved from one air base to another. I think they were more concerned about submarine detection and that sort of thing to protect the convoys. Anyhow, when the war was over, he left Gander, went back to the farm, and my mother and I came with him, and another brother that followed shortly thereafter. So I grew up in a little village near Nampa. Well, we had a farm near Nampa, Alberta, which is just south of Peace River. Anybody that hasn't been to Peace River needs to go there sometime and see this magnificent river. It's, I think, the biggest river in Alberta, and a very deep valley. You go down a hill about 800 feet or something to get to the town below the farmland above. It was great. There's a 2-point charge in Peace River. The minister did a service in Peace River on Sunday mornings, and he'd come out to Nampa, which was near where we lived, and did it all over again in the afternoon. So we had a connection that way. I don't know, I went to Sunday school there, and I can remember my parents took us quite faithfully. I recall lots of little gold stars that you got every time you attended Sunday school. I had a lot of gold stars, so I must have attended quite a bit. I finished high school in Peace River, went on to university. I stayed in the men's residence on the campus of Assiniboia. I met Jerry Cohen there. He was kind of my overseer for good manners at supper and that sort of thing. Then my next 3 years at university at St. Stephen's College. So I was immersed in United Church. College was a residence and a school of theology. I lived in a room across the hall from Gordon Oakes and Bob Thompson. I don't know if Gordon's here now, but I can remember when he was even younger than he is now. There he is back there, yeah. And Bob Thompson became a friend. I went, the Garneau United Church was very close to St. Stephen's College, so I go there often. I joined their young people's group. I think you'd heard from Cliff Cunningham a while ago about meeting a wife there. Well, I didn't meet a wife there, but I met a young lady who happened to be Bob Thompson's girlfriend. She was a student nurse. She saw me. I was in an all-male faculty, living in an all-male residence, so I had very little contact with women in my university years, which is kind of odd. But this young lady that Bob Thompson liked, Lorraine, was a classmate of my current wife, well, present wife. They were roommates in nursing, and so that was my connection. Anyhow, Bob and Lorraine got married. Then a little later, Joy and I got married, and Bob was, I think we were her first wedding ceremony that he performed. So we, finished university. We graduated at a time when, I don't know, President Kennedy was talking about do what you can for the world or something, not what the world can do for you. It was kind of a time of giving and concern and caring. At some point in there, we both just barely started in our careers. We decided we'll volunteer with CUSO, the Canadian University Service Overseas. So we got posted to Guyana, South America, on the top north end of Guyana, South America. I was teaching engineering. Joy was teaching nursing. It worked quite well. I don't know what happened, but all of a sudden we ended up coming home with a 9-month-old son, Doug, our first kid. We moved, when we came back to Canada, we rented an apartment in just across the street from Dayspring Church on 40th Avenue. Within a year, I think we got the opportunity to buy the house that we're currently in. And we started going to Southminster. That was a long time ago. There was no minister. They rented the school. We set up chairs just like we do here. They didn't have a minister. They didn't have any building or anything. We were there for a long, long time. I got involved in several things on the board. I guess I was a treasurer for 13 years way back then. Chaired the board, done all kinds of things like that. So it's been a great connection. This is a great church. I thought I've always liked the United Church over the years, and this one was quite special. So we enjoyed it, and we've been here. We've been a member since 1972, so it's 53 years or something. We've seen it go from renting the school to being in the school gym to the community center to a couple of major fundraising things to buy this land and then to pay for the building. And it's been a good life. Thank you.
Is this on? Yes. I'm Tanis Aker, and I'm giving the land acknowledgement today. We are gathered here on this land to ponder and discuss our spirituality, our beliefs. We are gathered here in Amesquad-Watch Waskegan, the Cree word for Edmonton, which means Beaver Hills. We are gathered on this Treaty 6 land where many nations of First Nations, Inuit, and Métis people lived. Here are some questions for us to think about while we are here. We all have responsibilities to the people and the land. What are ours? Sorry. What are the gifts of the land? In the minds of Indigenous people, the land was identity, connection to their ancestors, the homes of their non-human kinfolk, their pharmacy, their library, the source of all that sustained them. We need to combine our acknowledgement with concrete actions embedded in a relationship of solidarity between our peoples. We need to encourage our governments to live up to the treaties they signed and Indigenous leaders signed in good faith. We are all treaty people.
Good morning. My name is Claire Woodbury, and I'm your gathering companion this morning. And I'm here to welcome each and every one of you. It's great to see you here, and welcome our sister community in Saskatoon and anyone else who is with us online today. Welcome to you all from all over. We're spiritual seekers united in community. Each one of those words means something, but it does mean that we want to be our very best selves. And that means we're people who celebrate diversity, engage life with spiritual depth, inspire compassion and connection, and we want to make a difference in this world of ours. So welcome to a place where we can do all of that and get a head start and a leg up. And we're also here to celebrate that we welcome who we are and who we are becoming. And that's important. We affirm our inclusion and belonging as we work together to build a safer place for all people, all sizes, all ages, all colors, all cultures, all abilities, all genders, all sexualities, all learning styles. And there's one. The church has long been good at people who learn best from what they see and people who learn best from what they hear. But there's a third category, and that's the kinesthetics. They remember best what they have felt, how comfortable they've been. And we want our congregation to be at the forefront for all three learning styles, including kinesthetics. So welcome to you all, and all religions, which, as somebody who's been in the religion business most of my life, most of it's been the Christianity business. But it's something to be able to say, we welcome all religions because we know that there is learning and truth and something to be learned from every culture. There's wisdom everywhere in this world of ours. So welcome.
Inspiring acceptance and pride, never afraid to say welcome. We're stronger together than lone. We're colorful, beautiful, just as we are. Let the light of our hearts be known. This is a place of belonging, with doors that are open wide, community grounded in justice and love, inspiring acceptance and pride. Once we were different or noticed, our common intent was soon found. Now friends we call family, together we share in this place that we all come home. This is a place of belonging, with doors that are open wide, community grounded in justice and love, inspiring acceptance and pride. Moving toward love's never easy. Rejection and shame are cruel wounds. We're finding the friends that inspire the way. Living spirit and love attuned. This is a place of belonging, with doors that are open wide, community grounded in justice and love, inspiring acceptance and pride.
A time for all ages is a time for all of us, and whether you come to the carpet or not, this is a time for us to share in an experience, learn something new. Hi, Nina, come on. Hi. Hello, everyone. Welcome, welcome. I'm glad to see each one of you. So glad. I don't know if you've ever looked around the walls of this room, but there are different banners hanging around our room, and we've talked about the different words on those banners, the 7 sacred teachings from Indigenous cultures. We've talked about truth and courage and humility and love and honesty and respect and wisdom. And I I think it's lovely that these pieces of art are hanging around. We knew the person who painted these banners when they were working on them. His name is Arthur, and he's no longer living. But when he was alive, he would come here and he would sit in this room and he would ponder each of these words. And he would think, what am I going to paint to depict my culture and also these words? And it was such a beautiful thing to have the artist here and to now be able to celebrate that process and each of these wonderful teachings in our room with us. It made me think about how we have respect. Today's word is respect that we're going to talk about in here. And it made me think of not just the art on our walls in here, but when you go to a museum. If you ever go to a museum and you see art on the walls, there's certain things that they don't want you to do in a museum. Touch it, you're right. They don't like you to look behind the frames or the art. They don't like you to climb on the statues. In fact, once when I was in a museum, I sat on the little edge of where there was a piece of art. It was a little platform. I sat on the edge. Boy, did I get in trouble for that. And I think it's because these pieces of art need our respect. So we don't want to do anything to damage them or to hurt them. We want to look at them. You see in these pictures how there's... look, here's the Mona Lisa. That's a very, very famous painting that's actually much smaller than a lot of people think. Look at how they have that railing around it. You can't... And then what's not in this picture are the security guards that are just right there, so that, you know, don't you dare climb that railing and want to look at that picture any closer. It's because we respect that art and we want to take care of it. Look, there's art on fridges too. Do you have art on your fridge? Yes. So do we. We have art on our fridge at home. That is something special too. And just because there's no ropes around it doesn't mean we don't respect it. That's, I think, why we or our parents put the art on the fridge, because we respect it, we love it, and we want to look at it and admire it. It's beautiful. This is going to sound a little bit crazy, but you are all works of art. We all have our own little lives, and we're learning things, and we love certain things, and we're really good at certain things, and other things we're still learning. And we're all beautiful people on the inside and on the outside. And so the respect that we show a piece of art in a museum, that's the kind of respect we can show each other, because we are all beautiful works of art. So I brought a frame. So I thought I would just look at that piece of art right there. Look at this one. How about that one? What do you think? Oh, I think some people like this one. How about that one? Oh, yes, we love all of this work of art. Look at this. Oh, that's a side profile shot. I love that one. Yes. Oh, it's beautiful. When we frame you, we can tell. Yes. Let's look at this one. Oh, yes, beautiful. Isn't that great? That if it seems really silly, but if we think of ourselves and each other as works of art, I wonder if we will think about each other just a little bit differently. We might think twice about saying that hurtful thing, or grabbing something out of their hands, or frowning at them. We might think again, because we are going to remember, oh, do you know what? The person I'm looking at is a work of art. I need to treat that person with respect. Oh, I like that one. Oh, nice. So, we can't put frames around everyone all the time. But next time you see someone, well, that's going to be right away, as soon as you look at each other. But when we're going through our day, through our week, imagine that picture frame around someone and how you're going to treat them like a beautiful work of art. It's going to be great. It's how we change the world, by the way we treat each other. How about Kid Spirit? How about Playroom? How about Youth Space? How about all these things? How about staying in here and hearing other wisdom? Oh, it'll be great. Thank you for coming to the carpet.
We are joined together in a bond of love, with cords of freedom and of duty. Connected in the Spirit, our spirits are strong, in a land of wonder and of beauty. Made by all of us, for all of us, fashioned by everybody's hands. All our differences, all we share, woven into many colored strands. And this bond will hold us through the storm, and encourage us when hope seems gone, knowing that together we belong. We'll extend our care to the ends of the earth, and love will ever be our song. By all of us, with all of us, offered with love that's full and free. Chords of sympathy, chords of joy, stronger for our mutuality. And this bond will hold us through the storm, and encourage us when hope seems gone, knowing that together we belong. We'll extend our care to the ends of the earth, and love will ever be our song.
Well, I've got another story, and Robin or anyone else can come to the carpet and hear it if they want to. This is called The Rabbi's Gift, and it's adapted from M. Scott Peck. A thriving monastery had fallen on hard times. People no longer came to be nourished by prayer and by learning. Only a handful of old monks shuffled through the cloisters with heavy hearts. On the edge of the woods near the monastery, a rabbi had built a little hut. He would come there from time to meditate and pray. One day, the abbot decided to visit the rabbi and open his heavy heart to him. The rabbi greeted him with outstretched arms. They embraced like long-lost brothers. They sat and shared their stories with each other. The abbot shared his pain over the hard times endured by his monastery. He asks the rabbi for advice, and the rabbi answered, "I will give you a teaching, but you can repeat it only once. After that, no one must ever say it aloud again." Then the rabbi continued telling the abbot, "The Messiah is among you." After a while, the abbot left and puzzled over this advice as he walked back to the monastery. The next morning, the abbot called his monks together and told them the rabbi's teaching. The Messiah is among us. The Messiah is among us. What could that mean? They asked themselves. Could he possibly have meant that the Messiah is one of us monks here at the monastery? Do you suppose he meant the abbot? Yes, they said. He must have meant the abbot. If he meant anyone, it probably meant the abbot. Certainly he could not have meant Brother Elred. Elred is crotchety all the time. Yet, as they thought about it, they realized that he was also so often right about so many things. Well, and of course the rabbi didn't mean me. Suppose I was the one. What could all this mean? As time went by, the monks began to treat one another with a new and very special affection. A caring, warm-hearted respect began to grow among them, which was hard to describe but easy to notice. They began to live with each other as people who had finally found that special something. Over time, when visitors came to the monastery, they found themselves deeply moved by the life of these monks. Word spread, and before long, people were coming from far and wide to be nourished by the lives of the monks and to experience the loving regard in which they held each other. Soon, others were seeking once again to become part of the community, and the monastery community grew to again become a vibrant center of light and spirituality. In this modern Jewish parable, may we find wisdom for our living.
From the book of Luke, the Christian tradition as interpreted by Eugene Peterson in his book, The Message. Here is a simple rule of thumb for behavior. Ask yourself how you want people to treat you, and then grab the initiative and do it for them. If you only love the lovable, do you expect a pat on the back? Anyone could do that. If you only help those who help you, do you expect a medal? If you give for what you hope to get out of it, do you think that's charity? The stingiest of the stingy do that. I tell you, love your enemies. Help and give without expecting a return, and you will never regret it. These are words from the first century Jesus tradition. May we find wisdom for our living.
Thank you, Claire. Claire, you could read the phone book to me and I would be enraptured. A long time ago, and in the ancient world of story, I'm going to tell you another one. As if we haven't had enough of them, here's another one. A long time ago in the ancient world of story, there was an oppressed community of Israelites taken as slaves into Egypt. Do you know this one? They were united in their struggle for freedom against a common enemy, the Pharaoh of Egypt. Well, there was a lot of rigmarole in getting them out of Egypt. It had a lot to do. There were plagues. There were parting of seas. There was a whole lot going on. Once they were liberated from the power of their dictator, they were faced with a new reality, though. They were on the other side of that Reed Sea. They were on the freedom side. And they were suddenly faced with the idea of being free. And now what? How do we rebuild this community that's been broken and shattered? How are we going to be free people? How are we going to ensure that we can live humanely now that we're free of the cruelties of oppression and captivity and the anger that we've held for so many years toward our captors? How are we going to find a way to govern ourselves and shape freedom and humanity back into our living? We call this story the Exodus, the story of captivity to freedom. But in many ways, the story is only getting going once they're free. In many ways, it's a parable of what happens after the escape, the chaos of rebuilding lives and organizing life together. And this is a part of the story. We can relate to all of it. We can relate to being in some kind of bondage and finding freedom. We can relate to finding ways to rebuild broken lives. There's lots of things we can relate to in here. These desperate people, led by an unlikely leader in Moses, escaped Egypt, which literally means a narrow place. And having come into the wide and wild place of wilderness, they complain about everything they feel that they lack: appetizing food, clean water, leadership, organization, lack of direction. They are floundering. So the moment comes in the story when the chaos needs to be managed, values need to be established, and ground rules need to be created. This is the work of every community when we say, how are we going to organize ourselves? Now, the world has taken this metaphor of what happens now at the foot of Mount Sinai, and we've taken this metaphor of Moses receiving the Ten Commandments, and we've made it into a concrete story, a concrete happening. I'll say just because it may be based on some historical events doesn't mean we're reading history. We have to be clear about that when we open that dangerous book called the Bible. Let's say it like it is. The Bible is a human document created for human purposes. So the Exodus story, like almost everything we encounter in this literature, is a spiritual story. This means it has lessons that go deeper than the history and are more real than cosmic superpowers. It's about, like every spiritual reading we read, it's about what never happened and is always happening. It is about you, and it is about me. It is about us together. So what happens at the base of Mount Sinai isn't about Moses going up a mountain and encountering an all-knowing, all-powerful God writing rules on stone tablets, though it makes a really great story. This is about a community in turmoil and needing to find a way. They're on a journey that seems like it will never end to find their way back home or to find any home, and they're exhausted. They're free, but they're lost. They're traveling, but they're wandering in search of what will life look like next. I don't know if you've ever made a move in your life. I don't know if you've ever kind of said, I'm gonna set aside what I know and what is comfortable for what I know has to come next. And you're not even sure what that is. That's a scary time. This is where these people are. They've left what they had to leave, but they don't know what's next. This story is about a community's discernment and consensus about how to keep human life human. They worked to come up with an early charter, call it a constitution. How to preserve goodness and protect ourselves from the worst in ourselves. Those get called the 10 Commandments. But they're more like 10 ways this community has found to show respect to each other, to live peaceably. Some ingredients to inject some unity into community. These folks don't have masters barking orders anymore. These folks don't have abusive spouses anymore. They have escaped. These people don't have churches telling them they don't belong here anymore. They've been freed from that. Name any kind of life crisis you've got, and imagine the escape from it, the freedom from it, and then asking, now what? What if we hear these rules not as rules from on high, but as people seeking ways to be in the world with themselves and with each other? What if we heard these ingredients for respect something like this? Respect that you did not make yourself, but rather are interdependent, recognizing we are all kin. Respect that all the world is one and all is sacred, and you are in relationship with it. None of it is reducible to a word or to an object. Respect the need for rest. Nothing in all creation can sustain production forever. Respect the wisdom of the long story, of the universe, of your history, of your ancestry, of your story. Respect all forms of life, the sacredness of life and death, the web of being. Respect the faithfulness which sustains relationships and honors commitments. Respect what doesn't belong to you and discern what is shared stewardship. Respect the truth and seek it. Respect what has been entrusted to another and delight in your own journey. We are all seeking ways out of our Egypts, out of our narrow places. This is the work of life. To find liberation from the narrow places, to find ways of living that bring us out of the narrowness of our hearts, the narrowness of our borders, the narrowness of our beliefs, of our caring, of our compassion, of our responsibility, and seek liberation from them into a wider and broader and more expansive wilderness, a home of respect. To put a picture frame around each person, as hard as that is when they're actively disagreeing with you. In the first century, in teachings passed along in this our Jesus tradition, respect was spelled even more simply than those workings of an early community. Treat others as you would wish to be treated. Restrain yourselves from doing what you don't wish to receive from another. Give to another what you would wish to receive for yourself. Give respect, earn respect, receive respect. We're inspired by these indigenous sacred teachings. They're not our teachings to give, but we're inspired by those words. And we know we've all got our own window into them. Respect is contagious. I think that's the wisdom of the story of the rabbi. What changes when you look at each person as the wonder that each one is? What happens when we look at another and see the Messiah, see the sacred, see someone's beloved, see our parent, our sibling, our child? Respect creates a safe place where we can meet one another in the fullness of our humanity, whether it be in the middle of a wilderness or in the middle of a city. In the parable, when the monks begin to treat themselves and treat each other with such extraordinary respect, they create a community that you can't necessarily describe, but that you can feel is real. That respect engenders kindness, compassion, gentleness, love. But it starts with seeing each other and respecting each other. It draws others to want to be a part of that. Why wouldn't I want to be a part of people being respectful, loving, caring, kind? This is a call to us as friends, as family members, as groups, as communities, as us, as spiritual community. Respect attracts, it transforms, it expands, and it sets us free to be who we can grow to be. And that is liberation that we're all after. So may we find such a respect and build our lives and community around it and be liberated by it. We are in our own Exodus story. What's on the other side of our sea? And how will we build it together? as we take a few moments to strengthen our intentions. We're learning from Indigenous teachings that respect is represented by the buffalo. The buffalo gives every part of itself to sustaining and partnering with its environment. Not because it is of less value, but because it respects the balance and needs of others in relationship. The buffalo reminds us that honoring our connection and place within nature is to have respect, refraining from being wasteful, sharing what we don't need, and treating others the way we would like to be treated. May we respond with the words in front of us. May we be respectful like the buffalo.
May we have the patience and the level-headedness to hear one another respectfully and wholeheartedly when we have differences, and to do our best to emphasize with and understand where each other is coming from.
May we be respectful like the buffalo. Let's remind each other to think of how our everyday actions impact others and put it in our hearts to ensure that our behavior is honoring of ourselves, considerate of others, and caring for our planet. May we be respectful like the buffalo.
No matter our race, ethnicity, cultural background, employment status, religion, sexuality, gender, age, size, or politics, we commit to the work involved in affirming that we are all inherently human and deserve respect and care.
May we be respectful like the buffalo. May it be so.
Go into the sacredness of the world we love. Go into the sacredness of the world we love. To live the change, to be the ones, to stand together in peace and love. Go into the sacredness of the world we love. Go into the sacredness of the world we love. To live the change, to be the ones, to stand together in peace and love. Go into the sacredness of the world we love. Go into the sacredness of the world we love.
I don't need that. You can sit. Of course you can sit. I saw 30 of you in mid-sit. Please, if you're in this space, there are no rights and wrongs of when you have to sit or stand or be a certain way. Please do whatever's comfortable for you. Oh my goodness. Well, that image now is stuck in my head. I'm sorry. Let's just take the respect that we share with each other, the wisdom we've learned, and take it to where it needs to go. As this light is transformed into this space and never really disappears, so too may we take our respect, our lives, our living, loving compassion, and take it where it needs to go. May it be so.